in. So what was the role of slavery in America on the eve of the Civil War? Well, that yearly cotton production, 1.5 million pounds in 1790, try 2.3 billion pounds, 60% of U.S. exports by 1860. If any of you have ever held a ball of freshly picked cotton in your hand with no stems or no sticks on it, you will know that it weighs virtually nothing. How much of that do you think you had to pick to get to 2.3 billion pounds of it? And how did they do that? Because the number of enslaved people wasn't 700,000 anymore. It was 4 million. And remember, we're not bringing over people on slave ships after 1808. Now, history will show there were definitely ships of enslaved people brought after 1808, but that market dried up very quickly. This was done by breeding. Black women were bred so that they would bear children who could continue American cotton production. The value of enslaved people in 1860 dollars, $3.5 billion, $100 billion in today's money. More millionaires per capita in the Mississippi Valley, that's Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana, than any place else in America. Today, that is one of the poorest sections in the country. There are all kinds of people who are desperate to make arguments that the Civil War was about something other than slavery. In the state of Texas, elected officials are trying to pass laws that will require their school teachers to teach that slavery was a side issue in the Civil War. And my response to that is, once again, don't believe me, just go back and look at what the states said. Our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery, the greatest material interest of the world. The people of the slaveholding states are bound together by the same necessity and determination to preserve African slavery. That the servitude of the African race as existing in these states is mutually beneficial to both bond and free. The election of Mr. Lincoln cannot be regarded otherwise than a solemn declaration on the part of a great majority of the Northern people of hostility to the South, her property, and her institutions. They have endeavored to weaken our security, to disturb our domestic peace and tranquility, and persistently refuse to comply with their express constitutional obligations to us in reference to that property. Georgia was essentially saying, you freaking lied to us. You told us that we could keep these people as enslaved people, and now you're taking them away from us, and we're leaving the Union because of it. And you know what? Georgia was right. They were promised that they would get to keep people as enslaved people. I'm from the state of Tennessee, and if I want to go to my home state and walk into the Tennessee State House to see one of my state legislators, I got to walk past this guy, Nathan Bedford Forrest, who was either the originator of the KKK or one of its first grand wizards, somebody that was clearly involved with the KKK coming to a height of power, somebody that was a Confederate soldier. And what he had to say about the Civil War, at least he was honest. If we ain't fighting for slavery, then what the hell are we fighting for? Ignorance is not bliss, because it allows a false history to thrive. Who controls the past controls the future. And if slavery just ended and then we had the civil rights movement and everything was fine, then what are we still complaining about? Who controls the past controls the future, and your children, they are being taught that slavery was a side issue in the Civil War.